not jumping through hoops for some psycho. That's a white man with white problems. You deal with it.
This guy wants to pound on you till you crumble.
Now, the fundamental problem with making a Die Hard prequel is that it will cheapen the events of the first film. The 1988 Die Hard became successful because John McClane was sold to us as an everyman, the average guy that is thrown into extreme circumstances. A prequel will undoubtedly reveal some hidden origin tale which reveals to us that McClane had actually survived in extreme circumstances before. Now, admittedly, being a New York cop in 1979 would mean that John McClane will have come across more conflicts and scumbags than the average everyman. However, the narrative in the first film is the origin story of the McClane character. It is the events at Nakatomi Plaza that result in John McClane realizing just how tough he is and the lengths he will go to protect his wife.
Thank you. Your silence says I'm understood.
Where the hell are you going, McClane? I know what I'm doing. Not even God knows what you're doing.
Clumsily retrofitting an action backstory to McClane will detract from what we think of the character. Just remember the Star Wars prequel, and did Anakin Skywalker really do any favours for how we thought about Darth Vader? It's like the relationship between Highlander 1 and 2, where in the sequel it reveals that the immortal humans from the first film are actually memory-wiped aliens which have been exiled to our planet.
Around with no shoes, and then this guy comes out trying to kill me. So I disarmed him. It was self-defense.
Right. And at what point did you write, "Now I have a machine gun," on the corpse of the deceased?
Ho ho ho.
I'm sorry?
The sweater should have said, "Now I have a machine gun. Ho ho ho." Sorry, go on.
Just out of curiosity, what did you use to write?
Blood.
Hollywood being Hollywood means that clumsy nods and references to the original film will come thick and fast in any prequel that does appear. References that will definitely crop up include John's hairline. McClane slowly loses his hair over the first 5 movies, and if anything, this added to his everyman vulnerability and appeal. This hair loss will undoubtedly be referenced in any prequel, simply by having a young McClane check his hairline, like Joseph Gordon-Levitt did in Looper. Or some character will clumsily say something like, "McClane, you keep stressing and you'll lose your hair." It'll be very clumsily done, and it won't satisfy anybody who loved the original. The second clumsy reference to the first film that I predict concerns John McClane's vest. Now, the white vest that McClane wears in Die Hard 1 has become iconic, regardless of the fact that it did not appear in Die Hard 2, 4 or 5. However, I do predict that at some point during the prequel there'll either be a shot of McClane getting dressed, putting on his uniform, and he'll be wearing the white vest. Or, I don't know, there'll be a sequence where it's McClane's birthday and he opens a gift from his mother and it's a pack of white vests, and his mother says something like, you gotta keep warm on the beach, John." The Die Hard franchise is little to do with what McClane wears and everything to do with the character and the situation that he finds him in. However, I do predict that the writers will spend more time shoehorning in a reference to McClane's vest than they will developing an interesting character or story.
Hans, Bobby, I'm your white knight.
The next clumsy reference that I predict is the appearance of Captain Roberts. Although the character does not appear in any Die Hard film, McClane's retired superior Captain Roberts is mentioned in passing in the 1988 original. He's the one that John might stay with in Pomona. I predict that Captain Roberts will feature in any prequel made, and he'll possibly act as either a mentor figure to John or as his exasperated superior. It's a clumsy reference to make to the first one, but I can see that they won't be able to resist.
He's inside. Who is he?
I'm John McClane.
A rather more sensitive issue the studio will need to address is the fact that McClane is a smoker. In both Die Hards 1 and 2, McClane is portrayed as someone who likes to smoke. Now, the morality of movies was very, very different back then. I mean, hell, even the Ghostbusters smoked in the first Ghostbusters movie. The problem the studio will face is that although chronologically the prequel McClane will be a smoker, the PC universe that the movie will be made in will mean that it is very unlikely that we will see McClane with a cigarette. I predict that the studio will attempt to paper over this problem by having McClane reference an effort to give up smoking early on in the movie. The Die Hard reboot discussion concludes in Part 3.